Fine. The state would say, you missed the deadline. I'm sorry. Good luck. And I'd be shot down. I would not be able to proceed any further because they would stop me on, I missed the deadline. Laurel missed the deadline for a letter. This is what blows my mind. We sent a letter, or the city sent, the mayor sent a letter. They didn't even say, hey, please consider us. These other cities sent in 20 some odd page requests and submissions, and they filled out and they jumped through the hoops, they dotted the I's, they crossed the T's, they did everything. And and the mayor sent a little page and a half letter, front and half of a back, and it said, there's some things you need to be aware of at the most. It didn't say, please select us, come here. And the Board of Investments took that after time and said, oh, that's a great idea. Laurel's a great place because you submitted an application. That's not an application. If I had to get a job, I'd have to fill out more of an application than what the city of Laurel sent in. And so this is, I would really like Dan Vila and those guys to come down. I think this is a joke. It's a bad choice. All these guys have already said things about property taxes, about city planning and county planning and growth and all that stuff, which is ultimately true. And I said earlier today, so it's a bad decision.
Gene Kerr.
My name is Jean Kerr, Jeankerr. I am a third generation citizen of Laurel. My grandfolks were here. They worked the land. Then they were also educators, and my folks were professionals as well as I. I recently retired after 28 years of service for the citizens as city judge. In my mind, the way this project started illegally and without proper due process, I think it's criminal. There is already going to be money spent by people, and shouldn't be this way. The attitude seems to be to ignore the citizens of Laurel and to shove this project down the throats of the Laurel citizens, whether we want it or not. There's a lack of integrity and moral compass that seems to continue pushing this through. And it's not the citizens here, it is the people that are involved, the key players. I feel like they've been basically caught with their pants down, and now they are on the offense and don't want to back down. I see this attitude everywhere. Federal government, state government, local government, things being done under the table, and I've watched it for several years in a row in the city of Laurel myself. This is not following protocol of the law. Laurel doesn't need this facility. It will not be bringing in jobs, as has been stated in the past. I drive to Billings frequently. There has been a billboard up for nurses, state nurses, for over 2 years. And they are saying that we're going to have all these professional jobs here, high wages, the whole bit. I agree with Shauna. They're not going to live in Laurel. Why should they? We are a community of basically retired people and young families with children in schools. The facility will not be in an area that is safe. And I've also seen how the law and changes are made. The law is not proactive, it's reactive. It takes a bad incident before the law is updated to look at what happened, and then we respond. And this is not a proactive approach to this facility being built, to how it's going to affect Laurel or anything. We need to keep our kids safe, and I know of many instances, not just people even escaping during transport, and there has been that through my time in my career, because we used to have a state transport of prisoners, and they were just they were not felons. They were misdemeanor criminals, at least the ones that were in my court. And they escaped from the vans at times. Thank God nobody was hurt. The officer lost his job, but it could have been bad. There are people that get beat up in the jails that are jail personnel. We don't read about it, but it happens. So the guarantee for safety, I don't buy it. I really feel that this will bankrupt the city. Our city has been holding our breath over buying a new fire truck. This facility is way beyond anything of our control, and we don't support it because of that either. This facility will continue to tax not only our tax dollars, but it will put a big stress on our emergency services, police, fire, ambulance, as well as the infrastructure here too. And if my neighbor or myself or someone, if we need an ambulance and have a call, and we've been paying for our property taxes and supporting this town forever, and it's over at that facility, I will feel robbed that my neighbor or myself, we had a heart attack and died, and they had the ambulance there, the new kids on the block, pulling everything that we have. I also did a little bit of research, and I was kind of surprised, not surprised, but saddened to know that Warm Springs and Galen are supported continuously by Butte and Anaconda tax support. That doesn't sit well with me either. There's no guarantee, as Mr. Pales stated, that this 32-bed facility won't be increased in size. Who would buy over 100 acres of land for 32? We might as well build a palace. And I don't believe that that is going to be that way. I have seen too many people talking out of both sides of their mouths with this project to believe anything coming down from Helena. This project will affect Laurel long term. It's going to basically make this town a ghost town. Mm-hmm. Our property values won't be worth anything. I am a homeowner. I've owned my home for over 32 years. And I can see that, I can foresee, I should say, that my property value will go down compared to if I sold my house tomorrow. And that's not fair. I don't trust the officials that have a vested interest in this, from council people, not I can't say councilmen and women, but the mayor and the CAO. I don't trust what is said. I asked questions before I retired and was just told that the reporting in the news was inaccurate. And so it was somebody else's fault, even though the action was going under the table. I always shake my head when I think of the mayor asking if anybody has had any communication outside of the meetings. And I've never heard the reporter or the mayor or the CAO report of any information that they have had outside of an official meeting, and yet this affects me and everyone in this room. That's not fair. I oppose this facility being in Laurel, and as other people have also mentioned, I do see a big need for mental health in this state. Mental health exists everywhere as far as the needs. I got into a discussion once with a Supreme Court judge saying that I personally felt that the drug and alcohol courts and the mental health courts needed to be in my lower courts, not even at a district court level. Because if we could attack the issues when they first came into my court, which is the very first time anybody ever sees people, then if we could attack that issue then, find the help that they needed, there probably wouldn't be very many felonies in this state. At least to the degree that they are. I mean, I see district court judges needing to be increased in number in this county all the time. The problem is here as far as mental health, drug addiction, the whole bit. And I also did agree with the statement made that people do think differently. And I'll never ever get out of my head when people get backed into a corner that desperate people do desperate things. So if somebody escapes and all of a sudden they're frightened, they don't know what to do, they're backed in a corner, it's a gut response that's just a knee jerk, and it doesn't assure safety. It doesn't assure stability for this town. So I am very adamantly opposed to this project being in Laurel at all. Let Miles City, let Hardin have their ability to embrace this project. I don't. Thank you.
Hal Reiner.
So yeah, thank you guys for coming. It's nice to have somebody from the state finally show up. Um, I don't think I really need to say a whole lot more about the process. I've watched it. Everyone here today has talked about it. What I am concerned about is not just the breaking of the process rules. What concerns me is that whenever I see something come out of Helena about this process or about the facility of itself, it seems to be a lie. There has not been or continue to be any transparency or presentations about this to our local council or the community. Even now, they send you guys down and you can't answer any questions for us. It'll allegedly bring jobs and business, but where are they going to go? It doesn't take a community planner to go and take a look at this town and realize they're going to go that way. The only way you're taking up 114 acres, no one's going to build around that. Yeah, I also have a young family that I'm raising right between the elementary school and this facility. So I kind of have a problem when you have Dan Villas sitting up there talking about, oh, this is going to be a very secure site. So secure, we're not going to put a fence around it. And that he says it's going to remain a 32-bed facility while openly calling it phase one. Like, I don't understand what's going on here. I would like somebody who could come down and answer some questions. Sorry, I've kind of had a little bit of had to rewrite my statement there because of the rules you stated about calling into question people's character earlier. So my previous statement was largely that I want to know who these people are and what they think they're doing. That's it.
Thank you for your comment. Maggie Hansen. One quick thing. Is it okay if your kids are filmed? Thank you.
I'm a mother in our community, a business owner, I'm a real estate broker. I've been asked to stand here and anonymously share a letter from a youth in our community. I would also like to share a little bit of my own voice as well. I would like to formally stand in front of you and thank you for your time, but also say that I very much oppose this facility in the location that it has been decided to be. I would also say that I strongly oppose the arbitrary and capricious process that has been laid out in front of us. It's so unfortunate that the state cannot perform to what should be expected to them as far as communication, much of what Shauna previously stated. Professionally, as a real estate broker, a few of the other agents in our area and I have collected data, and it is very evident and data-based that facilities such as this within our local Yellowstone County community decrease land value and home value for homeowners and residents by up to 50% in compared to comparable homes in different areas. Unfortunately, I am already seeing the impact of that within our community and am having to face a lot of questions about, will my home prices decrease? What about, the aftermath of that, unfortunately. As a mother, my children do attend kindergarten at Laurel Elementary School and will attend kindergarten at Laurel Elementary School. It breaks my heart to know that the state is okay with putting high security, medium security, or any type of correctional facility within 450 yards of where our littlest learners go to school every day, where we drop them off, kiss them goodbye, and expect them to feel safe and learn. I would encourage anyone from the state or for you to time yourself. How long does it take you to, at a brisk walk 450 feet or 450 yards across a field? And then think about, how can our littlest learners who cannot self organize in an emergency, how can they be insured to be safe? There's no protocol or any precaution being considered for those members in our community. Now I would like to share a letter that I've been asked to read anonymously. This comes from a really incredible middle school student in our community here. And it says, "To whom it may concern, I am a student at Laurel Middle School, and I am writing to express my concerns about the proposed mental health facility in Laurel. I am scared about what is happening in our community right now. This topic is talked about everywhere I go. At school, at church, at home, and even during simple family outings like getting ice cream at Mo Cones. It has become overwhelming, and it makes me feel worried about my safety and the safety of the other kids in our town. I do not want this facility to be built here because I worry about my little cousins, other elementary school students, kids at my school, and the families who live nearby. Everyone in Laurel, really, because this does not feel like a good thing. From what I have heard and observed, this facility does not feel like a safe fit for our community. Laurel is our home, and we should protect what we already have while allowing it to grow in a thoughtful and responsible way. I ask the state to give our small town the grace it deserves and to truly listen to what residents, including the youth, are asking. My parents have taught me that actions have consequences, both positive and negative, and that we should be bold and brave enough to stand up for what we believe is right. That is why I am writing this letter. I believe opposing this facility is the right thing to do to protect our youth, our families, and our entire community. My parents also have explained to me that mental health is an important service. It is okay to need mental help. I understand that, but I also understand what it means to be responsible, respectful, humble, honest, and passionate. I think we need more of that here. Please consider the voices of the kids who live here and love this town. We do talk about this issue amongst ourselves. We feel it, we see it, and we are scared. Please do not place this facility in Laurel. Let us kids be kids and help our families keep our town safe. I also encourage other youth in our community to have their voices heard. Please speak up. We are the future of this town, and we have to be heard because this will impact our community forever if it is built." I think in closing, on a personal note, I would also like to say I really do understand from a development piece the beauty and simplicity of this piece of property, but because it's easy does not mean it's the right fit for our community. There are many other great locations throughout Montana, communities who have stood up and said, hey, we would like this in our communities, unlike Laurel. And I would really encourage the state to pursue that path. Thank you.
Valerie Crum. Oh, okay. Not a problem. Steve Crum.
Steve Crum, KRUM, 249, 24th Avenue west of Laurel. Was here earlier today, like some
Yep.
others. And one of the things that I would like to repeat that I said this morning was that something is really wrong here. And if with all this communication you two have documented, there's something going on at the state level that's not right. There's some insider deals going on. There is something that just isn't right here. And I would hope that as attorneys from the DPHHS and BOI, that somebody would be looking into this and say, what the heck is going on here? Because this is all wrong. For one thing, as was stated, nobody here volunteered, signed up, put in an application for this. One off-the-wall conversation with two city officials does not make an application. And for some reason, they're stuck here. And so that, again, that makes it look as bad as well, because whose land is this? Who is getting this? Isn't this part of the BOI boys group that is going to get this big chunk of money, this $4.2 million? That just seems like there's something not right here. Why that piece of land? It was like, if you follow how things went, it was a big deception, first, to get these other communities put in. Second, they showed up in Billings to look at land that never applied for this at all. And why were they in Billings looking at land? Then they show up with two of our city officials, or one at least, and they end up supposedly looking at land across the road from it. Oh, here's 114 acres from one of the members or friends of the VOI group. So something's wrong here, and I would expect the two state agencies to be looking into this and figuring out what is wrong. This shouldn't be happening. That's the negative, and we've heard all the negative things of why this shouldn't be here, and it doesn't belong here. But here's a positive. If it has to be in Yellowstone County, which it shouldn't be, it should go to Miles City or it should go to Hardin. They've done the job. They've done the process. They paid to do what the state asked them to do. That's where it should go. Either one of those two. But if it had to be in Yellowstone County, when you drive by Deer Lodge, where's the prison? Way up there on a hill. It's not sitting in a residential neighborhood. This is a prison. These are criminals. These are convicted felons. These are some really bad people. So this is a prison. So Deer Lodge is way up there on the hill. If you're going to build one in Laurel, that $4.2 million should pay to put water and sewer 2 miles out of town on the other side of the garbage site, over that hill, on that side, and have city water and sewer out there. Plus, just as was stated, we still don't have the infrastructure to support it. So then you got to help support the community with, one, build a water tower out there to create pressure for everybody in the city of Laurel to have water with some of that $4.2 million. And then you got to support the police department. You got to support the ambulance department. You got to support the fire department, because we don't have the infrastructure for any of this. And so for that to be here, that's where it's got to go. The second place in Yellowstone County is right where the county commissioners want to expand the jail. That is the one place it should be. The state is spending taxpayer money. It's not the state's money. This is our money. That money should be used to support the communities, not destroy a community. That's not what it's for. And you could support us with what I said about Laurel, but even better yet, the $175 million they need to expand the jail. The state could pay that, because right now they're not even paying the cost of the prisoners that they are putting there, and they could back pay some of that as well. They could pay the $175 million, expand the jail, spend another $100 million, and build this facility right next to it so they can walk from one facility to the other. You don't need to drive them all over the country. Just do it right there. Just build it right next to the county jail. Expand the county jail, and then put your 64, 70 bed, 132 bed, whatever the final plan is, put it all in one place where it's very well protected. So that's my thought. Not here, not in Laurel. And I really would ask you guys, you two, especially as lawyers in these departments, somebody's got to bring up the question back at the state and say, what's going on here? Something's wrong. And I'd like to leave this with you. That this was intended for the DPHHS, and so I'll give it to her. And there's some questions in there that need to be answered that can't be answered here, and I understand where you guys are. So thank you.
Shelley White.
Shelley White, WHITE. I'm a resident of Laurel, have been my entire life. This morning I spoke as a nurse, as a master's prepared nurse who's been in practice for over 40 years. This afternoon I'm taking a little bit different approach. I'm speaking as a mother and as a grandmother, as a citizen of Laurel, and as a citizen of the state of Montana. As parents and grandparents, we teach our children to do what's right. We teach our children not to lie, not to steal, to work hard, and to have a good moral and ethical compass. We teach our children that this is the greatest nation in the world, that we have government with checks and balances that keeps us the greatest nation in the world. We teach them that our state is the same way. Checks, balances, the rule of law. What this process has done, and our children watch, and they absorb like sponges. In fact, my 18-year-old granddaughter recently registered to vote simply so she could vote to recall the mayor. They absorb information like sponges. What this has taught is, and what this process has been, is a bunch of lies. First, the governor lied to us. We will not put this where it is not wanted. That's a lie. The state told us that Laurel was selected because, they wanted it. That's a lie. Our city never wanted it. We didn't even put in the appropriate paperwork and forms to apply for it. So that's a lie. Dan Villa said he communicated to the city of Laurel 3 times. He did not. He called in during public comment, which is supposed to be limited to 3 minutes. No questions are asked, no questions are answered. There is no discourse with the councilman or the mayor. It was a lie. Our mayor lied. Our CAO lied about how they got involved. In fact, it's really interesting that the county commissioner told us how the state went about this for the first meeting ever, which didn't happen in a meeting room. It didn't happen at a city council session. It didn't happen in any formalized way. It happened in a parking lot. Seriously? And this process has stolen from us. It has stolen from Miles City and Hardin, people who went through the time and the energy and the effort and the expense to put through the formal application. It stole from them the opportunity to have any credible consideration for this facility. It has stolen from all of us here because we have had to put in hours and hours and hours of research, of attending meetings and fighting this facility that we never wanted to begin with. It has stolen from us our trust in our local government to the point where we are calling our mayor. It has stolen from us our trust in our state government because we know we have been lied to repeatedly. And our children see this. So what are we teaching our children by this entire process and by the state trying to shove a forensic mental health facility down our throats? We are teaching our children that this is not the greatest nation in the world. This is not the treasure state, the bright shining star of the United States. Rather, this is the corrupt state. This is the sewer state. We are teaching us that our local government cannot be trusted to do what is best for our citizens. That's what we're teaching our children. That's what our children are learning. Our children are learning to distrust the process, our elected officials, our government, and the rule of law. And I am going to propose to you that people that end up in a forensic mental health facility do so because they didn't get the treatment before they entered the criminal justice system. And those people learned not to trust. And so they learned that no one is going to help them. That's what they learned. That's what we're teaching our children by this process. That no one's going to help them. That you're going to be run over, you're going to be railroaded, and the government will do what it wants. That's what we fought 250 years ago. We fought against that. The United States was born fighting against tyranny and against the government shoving things that's down its throat. And I'm going to ask the state government, I would ask our local government and our representatives to re-examine what their parents taught them, to get back to no lies, no stealing, have an ethical and moral compass, and believe in our country and the rule of the law. Thank you.
Denise Kapish?
Denise Kopish. Do you need my last name? Can you read it?
If you could spell it just to make sure we get it.
Kaupish. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to read mine. I'm not a speaker unless you put me in front of your kindergartners. So, my husband and I have lived in Laurel for 43 years. We have raised our children on our 8 acres of land. Now we have beautiful grandchildren. Our plan has always been to at least have one of our children build on our land and have our grandchildren close by. Sorry. Our land borders the land that you are proposing for your psychiatric hospital. Now, if you were me, would you want your children and grandchildren playing in the backyard close to the people, men and women that will be there? I think not. I want to remind you, and also to help me remember, about what Gianforte said. And I remember you said it also. I will not build where it's not wanted. I don't want it here. It's hard for us to live in where we are now and not be able to do what we want. We were going to have our children build houses there, and we can't now because we don't want them close to what's going to hopefully not be there, but may be there. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very Kathy Herr.
Kathy, Kathy, her, Herr, not Kerr. In listening to everybody and reading the posts and everything, I've come down to a little sticky note saying, the bottom line is honesty, integrity. Whatever happened to when we gave our word that we gave our word and people could trust us? Transparency, accountability, and elections matter. Let's not forget. Here's what we're teaching our children. We're teaching our children to stand up for what's right and let the cry of this community be heard by the state.
Second here. Give me a second.
Pen hand.
I have pen hand. I've almost filled a book.
You may need another notebook.
Brian Manley. Oh, burn.
No worries.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm Bern Manley. B-Y-R-N-E. Manley's M-A-N-L-E-Y. Really, I went to the 60s. and I've seen it added on to over the years, and we've had a recent expansion. It doubled the size or maybe more. It's hard to tell with the stories. Schoolyard is huge. There's room for a lot more expansion um, in the future, of course. But our city fathers did an excellent job. Like I say, in the '60s, I went there, and that schoolyard is huge. I mean, is this going to impact future decisions to build there? Or are we going to be told now that we got safety concerns and to instead of build on land we bought probably in the '50s? So that is a concern, and there have been so many good things said today. Um, Issues, problems, uh, objections, and I'm 100% against this, by the way, if it wasn't clear. But to me, we're skirting the issue. There is a state statute that says a correctional facility has to have a required minimum distance of 1 mile between it, the boundary of it, and the boundary of a school. That's the issue here. I mean, if we're paying attention to that statute, we're not even having any of these conversations. Now, I understand the state has somehow wiggled out of this statute, saying that this statute is only for private correctional facilities. But I'm here to say that's where the fight is. The fight is, how did they wiggle out of that? Well, we know how they did it. They make their own law and they did their statutes, but we have national organizations like OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health, MSHA, Mining Safety and Health, that I've been a part of, and in no way is there ever a safety statute that says, well, it applies or it doesn't apply depending on who the owner is. You'd be run out of that business. You'd be disciplined at first, but if you relentlessly pushed and pushed and pushed for it, you'd be fired. And to me, that's where the fight is enforcing that statute is there for a reason. Deer Lodge is up on a hill. I mean, I'm not sure what the history is when that may or may not have been changed, but to me, that's where the fight is. And I guess it's the attorneys, the lawyers, they'll have to fight it. But we'll have to leave it to them. I guess that's all I can say.
Roger Geese. And did I mess up to the last?
Pretty close.
I'm sorry.
Hello, my name is Roger Geese. I concur and agree with most of the language that has been spoken prior to my speaking up here. Just a little bit of history about myself. I've lived in Laurel since 1987, moved from northern Minnesota, God's country. 10,000 lakes. I tried to fish them all, didn't quite make it. There's some areas of concern. I'm not for this particular institution that is being, as it looks like, forced down our throats without the proper etiquette being taken place. Where are our elected officials in regards to standing up for us in regards to talking about that? Why haven't we heard from them? Okay. I was on the city county planning board for a number of years. We heard a lot about future development and either passed it or didn't, right? Or went back to the party that wanted to build and suggested areas that they could invest more money and more time in so it'd be complete. Right? We also rewrote the building codes here for the city of Laurel. Right? Every 10 years you go through that. I've worked at the volunteered, I should say, at the Montana Rescue Mission, working with the broken population. People there got into alcohol, drugs, and other areas of their life that caused destruction. Okay? Doubt, fear, Many of them, when they got out of there or they were housed for a period of time, are now up at the Montana State Prison. Okay, why? Because those areas in their lives weren't taken care of spiritually, physically, and mentally. Right? Now, how do you do that? Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. I also worked volunteered up at the Montana State Prison up in Deer Lodge and worked in-house with a lot of those people. I didn't have a degree, didn't go to college, didn't go to, be a counselor. What I used was the Word of God, right? The powerful Word of God to change people's hearts from the inside out. Can I hear an amen here? Anybody say amen to that? All right, thank you. Now, when that occurs, then you get them plugged into a people or population that is going to guide them, shape them, help them understand who they are created to be in Christ. Then you have success. You have some growth in there, right? And I saw so many success stories. Like I said, I worked with the high side, which is people that are in there for violent crimes, right? And I also worked the low side, people that were, like Gene deals a lot with drug people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that were up there for that reason. This whole situation can be handled in a better situation, a better way, as we all know. But I'm also wondering about the people, as we've been told, that they escape these places, right? Why? Because they're a reprobate mind. Okay, reprobate means they'll do anything to further their cause or to seek damage for somebody else because they themselves are hurt, right? They never grew up with a father beat them. Whatever that whole situation involved, right? Now they're living it out in their life and bringing it on to me, our children, the city, right, that they live in or lived in, right? That's what they do. Right? Brokenness seeks brokenness, right? Okay. I think in regards to that, I think there should be further involvement with the city, with the city council, with other people that make decisions, CEO and mayor. Apparently they were asked to be here. Is that correct? Does anybody know that for sure? No?
It's the city clerk who was going to attend and it did not get a response.
Okay. They were invited, but their reply was they're not going to be okay. Why? That's my question. I'm not asking you. Isn't this their town also?
Yeah.
Right. So it's just not a singular problem here, guys. It's a community problem. Can we agree on that? It's a community.
I got to pause for 1 second here, real quick, just because the file's about to get too big.
Are we running out of time?
Well, we're